Okay, welcome to the next tutorial. Today we're going to look at a few other drawing tools and a few functions that AutoCAD can help us with. The main one we're going to focus on today is rotate. We're going to also have a quick look at mirror, and we're going to look at the Phillip command, and if we open that up, the Chamfer command. Okay, and we might also look at the extend command today. So there's a few things we're going to play with. Okay, so first of all, we need to make sure we're in zero layer. We'll start with a few lines, so just a simple line. So let's say we make this 350. And let's say we just make it a 350 square. So we can just track this point. There we go. Escape. Okay, and we might just offset this just to quickly get a thickness. So say we're laser cutting this, we'll make it plywood, which is 3.7 mil thick. So we're just going to offset this. So now we've got a thickness. So this is obviously going to be a plan view. Okay, and I'll just trim this out. So I can click on the trim tool. I can use the shortcut, which is the letters T, R, and then enter. Oops, I don't know what happened then. I'll do that again. Escape, T, R, enter, right click, and I'll trim that one out. So it's often quicker just to use the shortcuts, the key commands. I'm just trimming those corners out, and these will be finger jointed. You'll see that when we do our front elevation. Okay, so what I might do now is just offset that. So O, enter for offset, and I'm going to offset 35 mil. And I'll just make this 200. Okay, and then I can put in my edges. So we're just using the space bar to end the command and repeat the same command. Okay, excellent. Right. All right, so let's just say, for example, I want to round that corner off. I can use the Phillip command. So if I click on Phillip, and it says to select the first object, but before I want to do that, I want to just check what the radius is. So I'm going to type in R, enter, and it says the radius is currently set for 5 mil. So I want to make that probably a bit bigger than that. I'm going to make it 10 mil. So I'm just going to type in 10 and enter. And so now it's set for 10 mil. You can see it there. And now all I do is I click on the first line, and then I click on the second line, and you can see it rounds that edge. So I press the space bar, you can round that edge. I don't really want that line there, so I'm just going to trim it out. So I'm just getting a round corner on the top of my shape. I'll do that again. So I click on Phillip. It presets, it defaults to your previous setting, so it's going to be still at 10. Press the space bar to repeat the command, and then I'm going to trim that bit out. TR, enter, and right click. So that's the Phillip command. Okay, so Phillip just rounds the corner. An alternative to a Phillip is a chamfer, so it's just taking it at an angle. So, sorry, I'll just get rid of my properties manager. So if I go to line, and I'll just quickly demonstrate the difference. So I'm I'm just guessing a random shape here. So now if I go to Chamfer, and I can select the first line, then select the second line, and now instead of it being rounded, it's trimmed off at an angle. If I wanted to change the distance, I can just type in a measurement, say I make it 20, enter, and 20 for the second one. So now when I go to do it, instead of it being, oh, it didn't actually work. Okay. Sorry, I forgot to put in, I think it's distance 20. So D for distance, and then let's see if that works. No, okay, not working. Let's kill. Hi, welcome to the next tutorial. We're going to focus on a couple of different drawing tools today. We'll probably look at rotate, chamfer, and if we unconceal the box here, the Phillip command, and we might look at mirror as well if we get time. See how we go. All right, so the first thing we want to do is focus on rotate. So we're just going to construct a shape. Let's just start with, say, a 150 mil shape. Let's zoom in. Oops, it's a bit crooked. I'm going to undo that. 150. And let's just make it 150 square. So just using the line tool to construct a square, press the spacebar to end the command. And now we want to actually rotate that so it's sitting on a point, so it's like a diamond shape, 45 degrees. So we're going to go up to this command here, which is called the rotate command. It rotates objects, and click on that. And we're going to come down to the right-hand side of the box, and we're going to select the objects by clicking the left mouse button once and dragging up to scroll around or marquee around all those lines in the box. Left click to select the objects and then press enter to confirm that. Now it says it wants us to specify a base point, so it wants a point to pivot the drawing on. So I'm just going to choose this endpoint here. So left click on that, and then it says specify rotation angle. So when we rotate, AutoCAD will rotate in degrees anti-clockwise. So if I want it to rotate 45 degrees to the left or anti-clockwise, I just type in 45 and then enter, and it'll rotate. If I undo that by pressing Ctrl Z and say I want to rotate it the opposite direction, I'll rotate it from this corner this time. I want it to go clockwise. I want it to spin that way. I just put in minus 45 and it goes in the opposite direction. Okay, so minus 45 will go clockwise, 45 will go anti-clockwise, left and right. Okay, all right, so there's my rotate command, pretty simple. Let's say I want to mirror the object, so I want to repeat that object again to like book match it. I can click on the mirror command. Okay, I select the object, confirm it with the enter key, and now it wants me to specify the opposite corner. So it wants to know how I'm going to mirror this object. So I'm just going to click on an endpoint, so say there, because I want it to mirror from there. And I just want to go to this point here. All right, so I click again. So you can see how it's mirroring or book matching those shapes. I click again. Now it says, do you want to erase the source object? So if I want to, sometimes you want to erase the source object, you don't want it there, but more often than not, you want to keep the source object. So I'm going to type in the letter N for no. If I wanted to erase it, I'd type in Y. So just the letter N and then enter, and then it reproduces that shape. Okay, and there's separate shapes you can see, different elements. And I can keep doing that if I like. The other one you can do is array, but we might look at array later on, okay? If you wanted to have a bit of a play with it, you could have a bit of an experiment, but we'll deal with that in more detail later. All right, so the next thing we want to look at is the chamfer tool. So I'm going to click on chamfer. Chamfer just really takes a corner off at an angle. So let's say I don't want this sharp point, I want to grind that off at an angle. I'm going to press the chamfer command, and I'm going to click on the one corner and then the opposite line, and it takes that, basically it trims that line and that line, the two lines, and puts in a third line. So you can see now that that's a separate line, okay? Sometimes you don't want an angle, sometimes you want a rounded corner, particularly on the edges of tables or cabinets like edge profiles. So we call that a fillet. So we click on the fillet command, and we need to actually choose a radius for this one. So let's say our radius is going to be 10. So I type in the letter R, enter, and it says it's currently set the radius for 10, so I don't need to do anything. I just press in the enter key to confirm that, and I click on my line. And then now that's set the radius, the distance from the center to the edge of the circle, as 10 millimeters. So that means the diameter is obviously going to be 20. All right, so let's say I want to have a bigger chamfer, I want a bigger radius. I click on fillet again. Sorry, not chamfer, a bigger fillet. And I'll choose R, enter, and this time I'll put in 20, I'll double the size of it. Enter. So now when I do it, it's doubled the radius, so it's made that a much bigger curve. All right. So there you have it. Rotate, mirror, fillet, and chamfer.